welcome everyone to Learn with StreamYard. My name is Christian Karasiewicz. I'm the content marketing manager at StreamYard, and I'm joined by my lovely co-host, Julie Riley, social media manager. Yes.
Happy Friday, everyone.
So
it is Friday, isn't it? Yes.
It is.
It is the end of the week.
I'm going to say it's been a busy week, very busy week. And that's because we've got a lot of things going on, don't we, Julie?
We do. So let's talk about a few of those real quick. I want to share with you guys a couple of big things we have happening. The first is if you are in our Facebook group, the StreamYard community, which that is the link to get there. And all you have to do is search on Facebook, StreamYard community, and you will find us. We have going on for the entire month, VEDA, which is video every day in April. And we are encouraging you to create content every day, whether that is pre-recorded or live. Create your content, submit it to your channel, and then drop a link. We'll have a daily thread where you can drop a link and share with us the content you created. We are doing weekly giveaways for everyone who submits and participates. I'm going to actually be doing our first weekly drawing today. And then at the end, we are going to have a grand prize drawing for everyone who has participated. You will be entered into the drawing. We hope that you would participate every day, but I also know it is now 9 days into the month. So you have clearly, if you have not already been creating some content, you've missed some, but that is okay because you'll still be entered in the drawings and into the prizes, even if you just start today or tomorrow. So it's never too late to start. We want you to jump in and start creating that content. And we're gonna have some fun little extra challenges along the way that I'm gonna start incorporating into. So stay tuned for those. You'll see a daily thread though, every day where you can go post those. Next up is our big announcement that is coming this week and we are so excited about. It is StreamYard's first ever live stream success summit, taking place on April 15th at 9 a.m. And let me throw up the information for that. That is where you can go register. We have an amazing lineup of speakers. Our opening keynote is Seth Godin. Our closing keynote is Amy Landino. In between there, we're going to have Gage, our CEO, Vandentop, making a product announcement. And then we've got lots of breakout sessions. The idea is that we want you to level up your streams. Whether you are brand new to streaming or more advanced, you're gonna find some things that you can use and take away and really get some knowledge. The amazing thing about this is it's taking place on the Hopin platform. And the Hopin platform has some really cool features in it, such as networking, because we're not going to in-person conferences right now, and we've all missed out on those networking opportunities. And so the networking feature that's built into Hopin is so much fun. It's like Russian roulette networking. You get randomly paired with people, and you get to start interacting and talking to them, and you can choose to continue to talk to them or to go meet somebody else. We're going to have a really cool photo booth. We're going to have Christian running an Ask Me Anything. I will be running an Ask Me Anything. Dana Bentz will be as well. So we're going to have lots of content from the StreamYard employees and then lots of amazing speakers. Which speaker are you most excited for, Christian?
I'm most interested in, I've followed Stu McLaren for quite a while. Yes. Like years. And so I'd say Stu McLaren and Seth Godin are my two favorites. But I also have to say, you know, I've been watching Daniel Batal and Nick Nemeth and Dee Nemeth, and I love all the content they're always putting out as well. So those are my favorites. How about you?
You know, I'm really excited for Stu McLaren because I've not seen him speak yet. I've seen a lot of the other speakers, and so he is one that I've not seen. I'm privileged and lucky enough to know a lot of the speakers personally. Yeah. So he's one that I'm not familiar with. I'm familiar with him as a speaker, but I'm not familiar with him personally, or I've not seen him. So I think he's the one I'm most excited about.
Definitely. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. So I'd recommend everyone go to StreamYard.com/SY Summit. I dropped a link to that in the comments. We have quite a number of people already registered, so this is going to be a fantastic event.
Hey, I have a question for you.
Sure.
How much are tickets?
Good question. I actually thought you were going to ask me what kind of microphone am I using or what kind of camera, because that's the typical question we always get. Tickets, they're free, actually. That's the best part. Free. Absolutely free. You get to hear from some amazing speakers, as Julie mentioned. So
you have to register to get the content. The content will not be available later. So, well, it will be, but you got to register. It's not going to be posted on social media or YouTube. So you've got to sign up.
Absolutely. Yeah. And by the way, Scott Ayers here he says your sound is like butter. I know you've
Ooh.
upgraded your microphone.
I
Speaking of
have, and
equipment,
I've been
obviously.
tweaking with the settings on it, and I may finally have it right where it needs to be. Yay, thank you.
Perfect. So fantastic. So I want to I saw a comment here, somebody said, hey, like they said, what's today's topic going to be about? And I want to get into that because I'm really excited to have this week's guest on with us. Our topic is going to be how to set up multi-camera streaming. And there are quite a few ways, by the way, for you to be able to do this with the StreamYard product. I know, Julie, like built in, people can, if you've got like, for example, an extra smartphone lying around, you can go and you can use that. I know you can use OBS as an option. And then I think, let's see, is there a third option? And obviously, yeah, you can use a switcher such as like, an ATEM Mini, or actually Rodecaster just released a video feature. Now you can actually switch video with the Rodecaster mixer.
The other option I've done is I've had multiple computers logged in. And so I'd have like my old Logitech C920 hooked up to one laptop and my Sony A6000 hooked up to another laptop, and I could flip back and forth that way.
Definitely. Yeah. And so what we're going to do today is we have a great guest. Our guest is Heather Kraafter, and she runs Craft Shack over on Twitch.
Yes.
And so we're going to talk with her about, how she is using multiple cameras in her setup, and the reason we want to do this is because, a lot of people, they like, if you're in certain industries, for example, if you're into cooking, it's very easy to have, multiple cameras in that kind of setup because you want a shot of yourself and maybe a close-up of the food or the stove or things like that. But she does something outside of cooking, and so we're gonna have her talk about that. And so I'm gonna go and bring her on, Julie.
Yeah.
And we can kick things off. Heather, did I do a good job at presenting you to our guest?
Yeah, that was great. Thank you so much for that. I have been an artist for a while, but being able to stream my activity, as it were, like you said, cooking is an activity that people do with multiple cameras, but being able to share my art is really what I prefer to do. Like this whole face camera thing is not my favorite part of what I do with streaming, but being able to demonstrate the artwork, and everybody wants to get the best view of what you're doing. And the best way to do that is to have a second camera pointed directly at your workstation. Like you said, with a cooking show, you definitely want to see the cooking, the pans and the food that's being prepared. You don't necessarily want to see the person's face, but then when they start talking to you, you want to see their mouth moving. So how do you do that? And how do you do that in StreamYard? It was kind of a challenge when I first was introduced to StreamYard because, like you both had mentioned, you could set up a cell phone, but I ran into issues with that because there was sound issues, and then the switching back and forth becomes a switching of the person in camera here in the studio, right? So like even just to bring one of you back on, you would have to do some sort of switching in studio. So I was like, well, how am I going to do this by myself while I'm working on an art piece? And I was introduced to software called OBS, and I'm sure people have heard of Open Broadcast. I forgot the last word. I had it written down and I didn't look at it. Software, that's the word.
All good. All good.
Oh my goodness. But anyway, it's free, and it's something that you can put on your computer and allow you to switch between video cameras, and that has been a godsend for me. And because I can use a virtual camera within StreamYard, I'm able to do that and do all kinds of fun stuff. So I don't know if you wanted to see how I'm able to do that or not, but I wanted to just maybe push a button and show you that I can show you my desk.
Yeah, sure.
All right. So this is my desk, and you can see my hands, which this is the way I prefer to do a show, to be honest with you, because it's always more about the art than it is about me. And that's really what I'm always trying to show. And so every once in a while, though, somebody wants to talk to you or they want to hear what you have to say. And so you do have to kind of be prepared to show your face. And I have two cameras, as you can see, the one that's looking at me here, and then the one in front of me that's looking down at my desk. And because of OBS, I'm able to actually put both of those on screen at once. And And I have another little trick that I think a lot of our viewers really like to know about, and that's the Stream Deck that lets me just push one tiny button. It's like a mouse, and I just get to push that one tiny button and switch back and forth. So that's that's it.
Very awesome. Yeah. I mean, and so the thing is, like with the, for example, using OBS, so OBS and, for example, the Stream Deck, you can combine those with your StreamYard broadcast, for example, and you can enhance your broadcast by adding, for example, in your case, I think do you have a green screen there as well?
I do. That's how come you're able to see the art behind me that I've done in a previous episode, is because I have a green screen on my wall behind me, and I'm not using the in StreamYard green screen feature. I'm actually using the OBS StreamYard or green screen feature. So it works out pretty well for me, and it's not for everybody. I know not everybody can do these things, but I will tell you that that I didn't start here. I started with just one camera overhead and not a face camera. And I would suggest to anybody who's getting started with streaming that you don't have to do everything at once. You don't have to be perfect, and you don't have to do it all. You can build up to it. So one of the things you might want to do is just focus on what it is that you're trying to share with folks. If it's like I do with my art, then set up the camera in the best angle possible so that they can see your art, and then get comfortable with that. Once you're comfortable with that and you feel like you can grow from there, maybe then you're able to add something like a second camera through something like OBS, or even like you mentioned, Christian, using a cell phone or a switcher if you really want to get advanced.
I love that you said that, because I think that's something that a lot of people get very overwhelmed with. They go and they see this stream and they see this person that's doing something and they're going, I don't have all this equipment and I don't have all this knowledge and I'm very overwhelmed. And so now I'm going to let fear paralyze me and I'm just not going to do it at all. And so I love that you brought up that just start one piece at a time and build up.
Yeah, and that is I think my favorite part about being able to talk with you guys today is to share that anyone can do this. I'm not a techie person. I'm somebody who fiddles with technology so that I can get the art on screen. And I've been streaming for 8 years. We didn't even call it streaming when I started, but for over 8 years I've been doing this. So I've learned a few things, but that doesn't mean I know everything. And it doesn't mean I know everything I need to know. I just know enough to do what I want to do. And that I'm capable of getting through.
Right. Well, and I think, exactly what you said there is, what you need. What you need may not be what somebody else needs, though.
Exactly.
I mean, I don't need a camera pointing down at my hands. I'm not doing any artwork. Nobody wants to see my artwork. I'm pretty sure my 11-year-old can do better. But, so it's finding out what your needs are, what the purpose of your stream is going to be to get the right setup step by step.
Exactly. I think somebody said, I would love to see, I saw a comment there, it just ran past me, but I'd love to see the technical details of your setup. And I would love to show you guys exactly how I have OBS set up, or exactly how I have my cameras and all those kinds of things set up. And that is something that Michael Daniels and I do on our Tinkering with Tech show. We actually show behind the scenes of those things. So I'd love to have you guys be a part of that, the Tinkering with Tech show, which Michael Daniels has on his YouTube channel. And I'm sure somebody out there has the link for that.
I think he's in the comments, so I bet we'll see him
Probably.
pop up.
He's a great partner. I'm sure he's out
in the
there.
Comments. I've seen him. There he is.
And as far as I know we always delve into equipment a lot of times. So okay, so you mentioned you've got 2 cameras. What are the camera? What types of cameras do you like? What did you start out with? And what are you using now? And I know you from back in the day. That is
great.
So.
Yeah, these are great questions, because we always look at somebody from like where they are now, right? When we meet somebody, we're like, wow, look at that, they're doing great, but we don't realize where they came from or how they grew. So I think it's important to understand that when I first started streaming, again, they didn't call it that then, so. It always cracks me up to call it streaming, because I don't ever remember using that term until recently, but there was this button on my screen that said go live, and when I clicked it, it said we cannot detect a webcam. I was like, webcam? I need a webcam. Remember, now this is over 8 years ago, so I didn't have a laptop with a built-in camera like every one of them does now, right? So I was like, how do I get a webcam? So I just went over to Walmart of all places, and they're in, on the shelf, they had a few different ones. And of course they had one that was pretty cheap, like around $20 or something. And then they had another one that was like $120. And I'm like, there's got to be something else that is a little bit more. I just picked the middle of the road and grabbed that. I think it was a C620 or some ridiculous number like that from Logitech. And I used that thing duct taped to a 1x1 piece of wood that I held above my desk. Duct taped, pointed down. That's how I started.
Yeah.
And I have some of the best bloopers from that because I knocked it down a few times while I was, busy working and not paying any attention.
Somewhere in a box. I need to go find it. I still have my original webcam, and it's like a round ball that was on a stick, and it was a Logitech of some sort. And and it was like, looked like an eye staring at you.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And I think what was really funny in those days was, this idea of looking at a camera and seeing that eyeball staring at you, right, was very difficult to like get used to and to talk to and to make personal. So I would actually take pictures of my friends who were watching. I had them send them to me in the mail, and I would stick their faces up around the camera. So I was actually talking to them and not this round eyeball thing that we get to stare at when we're doing
I
these.
love that.
It is a good way to get used to the camera. I will tell you that much.
Yeah, I love this. They said, I had that webcam. Yeah, it followed you. Yeah, because it was that ball and it would move, and it was that thing was creepy.
Yes.
But so let's talk a little bit about kind of go a little bit more for those who are still kind of figuring out what is OBS and how is it separate from StreamYard. It's something you need to go get and download, and kind of talk a little bit about that.
Yes, so it is a free software that is available for download on the internet, and it works for both Windows and Mac, so you can use it, but it is very complicated. I'm just going to be honest, it's a very complicated thing, and so to get started, it can be overwhelming, and that's why folks like Michael Daniels, and there's a whole bunch of others out there. If you searched on YouTube how to use OBS, you'd be inundated with videos. And then it is one of those things that has taken me some time to learn. But once I learned it, I will tell you, I've said it before, I will say it again, I'm just a crafty girl. I'm not all that techie. If I can figure it out, so can you. And there are people who are willing to help you figure these things out if you're having trouble. But like I said a little bit ago, I started with something very simple. I have 2 scenes in the whole program, I guess. I started with a face scene and a desk scene so that I could just switch between the two. And then once I was comfortable with those and could figure out the next step, I added different things like being able to use a green screen or being able to put my camera down in the corner like I showed you with this one here, being able to do that. And then from there, I upgraded to a couple of other things. I don't know if you want to see that kind of stuff just to see the potential of what's possible. I don't know. Yeah. But it is something that's kind of cool because I'll just reach over here and push a button on my Stream Deck. And once I do, I'll show you this is what it looks like when I start my program. And I actually stream on Twitch regularly. And this month, I'm actually doing both Twitch and YouTube at the same time. So what's really kind of cool is that we've got like all this stuff going on the screen and things are moving on their own. And no, look, Ma, no hands. I'm not doing anything. And I'm able to show samples of the artwork that I do. So this would be like an opening view of, saying hi to the audience, bringing on comments and letting people know that I see that they're out there watching. And then I would switch over to my desk view, which you kind of saw a little bit of that, but this one has a little bit more bells and whistles. And you see those things falling in that jar is because it's a feature of Twitch, where on Twitch, people can actually send, coins and things, and you get money that way. So it's just one of those tip jars that shows that they're interacting and a part of things. And then the best part is, and this is the part that I care the most about, you can see the artwork taking place real time while I'm working on it. And that's really the goal here, is to inspire folks to find their creativity. And I do that by demonstrating how I like to be creative.
I think that is really awesome. We had somebody ask, and this is a great question, are you using OBS with StreamYard or only streaming using OBS?
I am streaming through StreamYard using OBS as a virtual camera.
Yes.
Which it would help if I would push the right button. There we go. So
is.
yes, I am using StreamYard to stream, and there's a big reason for that is very unique to my situation. And that's because I currently am in a temporary living quarters taking care of my grandmother, and we don't have great internet. As a matter of fact, I do this entire stream, the one I'm doing with you and the one that I do every Tuesday and Thursday, on Wi-Fi, but not just Wi-Fi, an extended Wi-Fi. So I'm actually in a bungalow out in the backyard, and I have one of those extended Wi-Fi pucks, and then you just see the flash that just reminds you I'm on extended Wi-Fi. But
it's holding up, and it's really impressive. So
it really does great, and that is all because of StreamYard. So if I were using OBS to stream, I would need a very robust internet speed and good connection without the little packet loss that you see those flashes taking place. So it's vital to me to have a tool like StreamYard in my pocket that allows me to broadcast using a browser-based service that has fabulous internet connection for me.
Yeah.
So it's great. I'm so grateful to StreamYard, because without them, I would not have been able to stream these last 4 years. So I am very grateful.
I love that. I'm impressed by your Wi-Fi, because I'm hardwired in and I get the internet warnings. I live out in the country and I'm like, okay, there is just not anything better I can do. I'm hardwired in and I'm still getting the low internet warnings. So I'm very impressed.
I still have those problems too, just so you know.
Yeah, but that's expected on, extended Wi-Fi. Hardwired, I don't actually expect that. So we had a question that said, how do you set up OBS as a virtual camera in StreamYard?
Oh, that is a great question, and one that I am not fully capable of answering. But there is a fabulous video that my friend Michael Daniels, and this is not a Michael Daniels commercial, but he's worth talking about. He actually did a video, and I believe it's even posted in the community on Facebook as well, of how to set that up and connect it. So it really is not difficult, and once it's set up, you never have to deal with it again. So it's really cool.
I love this. Scott chimed in and said, going live via Wi-Fi is scary. Must be a fast connection.
It is not at all a fast connection. I will tell you, it is my grandmother's internet, literally. I'm not just saying that. It is a literal
service,
grandma's
wherever you're
internet.
living. Like, you guys
It's
have got
not
good
great.
service.
No, it's not great. It's really not. StreamYard is the reason I'm able to do this, because I do have difficulties with Zoom, and it is StreamYard that is. StreamYard is the driving force of my show.
Well, we love that. Let's see. I'm scrolling through. Yes. So Michael Daniels said there is a video on his channel on how to set up OBS virtual camera.
So I got a couple of points by the way I want to make on all this. So for starters, Heather, like your video quality, I mean, is amazing. I'm going to just bring you up full screen here. I mean, so the fact that you are on an extended Wi-Fi. So like usually, for example, for people that if you're in a place where you don't have stable internet, for example, or let's say you don't have good coverage for your internet and you put an extender, a Wi-Fi extender in your house, what that actually will do is it actually cuts your speed. So if you have the standard extender, it will cut your speed by half for the most part. And so then the more extenders you add, the more it tends to cut things. And so, you know, I will say this, I am super amazed at how crisp and clear your picture quality is given the internet that you have. So it's pretty amazing. You know, and so I'm really amazed at that. The other thing though, I want to make sure we bring up as well. So we talk, you know, a lot of people always ask, they ask about microphones and they ask about, you know, using, so can we quickly talk about your laptop though? Because that's, I mean, to me, that's the heart and soul of streaming. I mean, if you want to run, for example, if you want to do more, for example, you want to combine OBS and StreamYard, you have to have pretty powerful computer there, right? So what kind of computer are we using?
Yeah, I am using a gaming computer. I prior to coming to Arizona, which is where I'm currently staying, to care for my grandmother again, I didn't have a gaming computer before when I streamed before, and it had its limits for sure. And I would never have been able to operate both OBS and live stream without the gaming computer. So it definitely makes a difference. But my computer is now 4 years old. We're going on to its 5th year. So it has its limitations as well. And I'm looking forward to an upgrade. But yeah, you definitely want to have 16 gigabytes of RAM. If you don't have that, you're not going to be able to operate much. The limit with my gaming laptop is that I can only run 2 cameras. We recently learned that 3 cameras, it doesn't have enough juice to push out to more than 2 video feeds. So there's that. There's also a limit to the number of USB ports that you have. And then you can, of course, purchase a powered hub and we're getting real technical here, but purchase a powered hub, which will have multiple ports that you could definitely plug in. But again, the laptop is still limited. I also have to run my laptop 100% plugged in always. Not good for your battery when you do that, because my battery life actually lasts about an hour, but the battery itself is not strong enough to run streaming at full frames per second usage. So it will actually cut the video feed down if I don't have it plugged in, and it will look very jittery, and it's not good for art quality for sure, but I have to plug it in. So there's just give and take. I think whenever you're doing anything, I just want to reiterate that you got to do the best you can with what you've got. Don't feel the need to go out and purchase the most expensive, because like I said, for half of my streaming time of my career, I had a computer that was one of those out of the box from, box store that I got on a, what is that, Black Friday sale or something for super cheap, that you just, get it out of the box and plug it in. And it worked fine for what I was doing for 4 years. So again, it isn't about having the best equipment, the most expensive equipment, or even having all of the equipment. It's about doing the best you can with what you've got. And I think when you do that, you should be able to focus then more on your content rather than on all the other stuff.
Right. I spent 3 years doing a show on the road on a phone, and it wasn't the latest, greatest iPhone, because, that was 3 years ago when they started. So it was like, I don't know, an iPhone 8 maybe. So yeah, I used what I had. I already owned this. I view this as $1,000 camera. You already paid that. You already own it. So utilize the tools you have and then build from there. I didn't start out with a great DSLR camera. In fact, I only acquired that late last year. I didn't have a great microphone. For a long time, I used a $15 lavalier mic from Amazon. I eventually got a Blue Yeti, and I used that until a month ago when I upgraded to the Shure. So it's steps, it's processes, because the equipment is expensive, and we don't expect anybody to jump out and go buy the latest, greatest all at once.
Exactly.
Somewhere out there, I saw this YouTube video of this kid that's like 15 or something, and like somehow, I don't know where he got the funding from, but literally dropped like $1 million on his setup in one day. And I'm just like, that's bonkers, like absolutely bananas.
Well, and in terms of equipment, that's the other thing with equipment. Like, people think, for example, if I go buy the most expensive camera, for example, or I just get started and I go pay, $1,000 for a camera, it's gonna improve the video quality, but it's not gonna improve the quality of your show. That's the one thing I can't stress enough. It's all about what your show is about. So, for example, in your case, you do craft projects, right? And so you have people, they paint with you, for example, they are building the same project with you, right? And so in your case, like, people come to see you, but they also come to like learn how to make something. And so, for example, you need like maybe for example, maybe your first camera was literally, I've seen this before. People have stacked boxes and they sit an iPhone on top, and they're like, hey, that's my that's my mount, for example, to get the right view of what I want to do. There's creative ways to do that. But, it's thinking about what your project is going to be that you're looking to accomplish. I mean, I like to give the analogy of it's almost like building a house.
Yeah.
You want to have the right tools, but you don't need every single tool, for example, that's out there, these shiny objects. You need to focus on what your goal is, with your stream. I'm
telling you, duct tape and a piece of wood can be your best friend. And there was one time where I had rigged up a thing to get the best eye level view of the face cam.
Yeah.
I used one of those plastic frames. Do you remember a plastic frame that's kind of like shaped like a 7, right? It's like a stand-up frame. So it sits like this and then it goes up like that, and it's very clear. You can just slide your photo in it. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I flipped one of those over, duct taped my camera to the edge of that, and then I was able to slide it across my monitor so I could still see through it to see my monitor, but the camera was on top of that, and I could move it so that I would get the best eye line needed for that.
Yeah.
And it was the most low budget answer to everyone that had the same question. How do you get the camera set in the right place so you're still looking at the people and able to actually interact with them? And now I have, like I said before, we start somewhere and then we grow, right? So now I have a tripod and mic stands and all kinds of equipment that if I took a picture of this, actually, I will, when we're done with the show, I'll take a picture of the whole setup so you can see the cameras, the 2 monitors, the lights, and I will post it on my Instagram so anybody can go there and take a look and see just how goofy this whole setup looks. But
what is your Instagram handle?
It works. It is Craft Shack. Hey, you know what? I can do something here. Check this out. I can actually put this on and show you. It's that right there, Craft Shack.
2 A's. I gotta edit it.
Spell it just like that. Spell it just like that. One of the bloopers on my show is that I don't even know how to spell it. So
I'll be honest, I had to
no
look
C,
it up as
no
well,
C's,
by the way.
no C's. I know, no C's,
no C.
Too many A's. Listen, SEO is not your friend if you're trying to be clever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yep.
That's true. There we go. Do I have it?
You got it.
Okay, there we go. That is it.
And I want to ask a question, by the way.
So we have a question that has come in that I would love to, before we move further on. They have asked if they have a guest on their stream, how do you bring them in when you're using OBS?
Okay, so I do exactly what you guys are doing. They come in through the link on StreamYard, just like this. I am the only one who has changes on the screen like this because I use OBS, so I can make these changes where I can switch over to my desk or put my face in front of the desk like this. I can do those things with my desk, but my guest, she has a camera facing down, and she doesn't come on camera this way. So so I do just like you guys are doing, and I switch between my view and her view, and just exactly the same. I just share that. Now, Michael, I know this really is not the Michael Daniels show, I promise, but Michael does game shows where he brings folks in through Zoom. So everyone is in a Zoom, and then he uses OBS to bring their images into StreamYard. And then he uses StreamYard to push that out. And he teaches that, again, in the Tinkering with Tech community. And it's a lot of fun to learn that stuff there. That's where I learned how to do all that I do.
So I have a question for you, by the way. You mentioned this earlier. You mentioned how you upgraded. At what point did you make the decision to upgrade? Because I know a lot of people, they start doing streaming. Then they say, hey, you know what? Is there a certain point where you said, you know what, I'm going to upgrade my audio, or I'm going to upgrade my video? Please talk about that.
Yeah. So whenever you're doing, your show and you've gotten to a point where you're like, I watch the replay and I hear this tinny sound every time I speak. That's when I replaced my headset. I had a headset at the time that I need to be able to move around. I mean, I've got my hands. I can't have wires. I can't have. You guys use a standalone mic where it's pointed right there, and that's great for podcasting. But it doesn't work very well when you put your head down and start looking at your work and then you go back up to talking, right? The sound would be very different. Having a microphone right here next to my mouth, which moves with me everywhere I go, and the fact that it is wireless allows me to actually go to the sink and get water when I forget or I need to, clean the water for a watercolor. I'm able to do that because I'm wireless. So these were things that I looked at what I needed in order to do the best program I could, and so I upgraded. Now I'll be honest, this microphone right here is probably the most expensive piece of equipment besides the laptop that I own, because I did invest in a really good high quality Bluetooth, because I didn't want it to be I didn't want it to have this sync error. I didn't want it to have that tinny sound that my other microphone had. I wanted to be able to have a good sounding quality microphone. And then also I utilize a single ear. You can tell that there's no ear over here. It's just one. And the reason why I do that is because I really like to do what I do, not only for a live audience online, but also for a live audience in studio with me. So I need to be able to hear what these folks are saying as well as what you're saying when we're here in the internet. So I had all these things that I had to make sure that worked right. So once I found something that would answer all those answers for me, check all those boxes, then I would save up the money to purchase it, and that's when I made the decision to get it, because I didn't ever want to go into debt for this, because it is a hobby and it is turned into a business. I didn't want to go into debt for it. So I wait until I have the income to purchase what I need, and then I move on. That's,
yeah.
I don't know how to be more practical than that.
Yep. Rosa is asking what brand is, and I'm assuming
a
headset.
The headset is a Sennheiser, SEIN.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
What model is it?
I always have to look it up. I always have to go to my Amazon and figure out what I ordered. Am I the only one who does that?
Oh no, all the time.
Okay.
I've scrolled back years and gone, okay,
yes.
I know I bought that in 2017.
Yes.
Let me go find the month. There it is.
Is it
yes, exactly.
ME3 maybe? I think that might be it.
It's an 800 Pro or something of that nature. Okay. Something of that very nature. Nice. But yeah, it's actually a very nice piece of equipment, and it's worked great. It has a stand to charge on, and as far as like upgrading cameras, I had the same C920 from 2000. It had to have been like 13, 14, I think, is when I bought it, until like 2 or 3 months ago. I just got this camera that we're looking through right now is a C925E. Yep. And both Logitechs there. Almost all of my stuff is Logitech. Just because I just like the company. I mean, once you use something, get used to how it works. Might as well stick with it. I do use a C922 as my desk cam, which we'll go back to that to show you there. The desk camera is a C922. And the quality is pretty good. I mean, you can almost see all the wrinkles on my hands, so works pretty well.
Very cool. Yeah, and so what I want to do actually real quick, so speaking of hacks real quick, we're talking about, creative ways to do things. I was just chatting with my friend.
I like that you use the word creative. I like to use that word.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, if you say, for example, like the duct taping thing, like for example, I've actually taken webcams and I've used zip ties to put them on a tripod, for example, because I needed to adjust the height for things. So it's about getting creative with your setup. It's not necessarily about going out and buying, for example, like, oh, I need to buy this adapter and I need to buy this tripod. Like tripods are, I think, Julie, you and I've looked at both of these. Tripods are really expensive.
Yeah, they
and
really
a
can
really
be.
good quality tripod. So, so what I want to do is I'm going to share. So this is a picture that Mel sent me because we were working on some videos, and she sent me this video, and I think this is actually really worthwhile sharing here. I mean, this is how she has a second camera set up. It's sitting on a photo frame, running to
Exactly.
another computer, and so
Perfect.
then all she has to do. So what she does, for example, in StreamYard, the way she does it is she opens a second browser window. And so she opens StreamYard. She then changes that camera to her Logitech camera. And so now within her dashboard, she has camera setup. So it's pretty easy to do, actually. I mean, I'll show you. Do we have time, Julie? Can I show them how to do this?
Yeah, we have plenty.
Okay, very cool. So I'm going to share, let's see. I'll go ahead and share my StreamYard window here. And what you're going to see here basically is this. So you're going to see all this fun stuff going on. But basically, here's Julie and Heather. And then you're going to see this camera here in the bottom corner. And this basically is a second camera over here. Hey, guys. So, this is the, let's see if I can put that full screen. There we go. This is the second camera that I have. So, for example, I'm going through, obviously, the angles aren't the best here, I guess, because I don't use it, obviously, very often. But as you can see, this is the second camera that I have set up. And so I've got that camera. I can set it up ahead of time. And then within StreamYard, as a second camera that I want to switch to. So for example, if I want to, I could take that one out. For example, I can go back to a single view, for example, or I can then go back to this particular, layout that we have going on here. So does that hopefully help everyone understand, kind of.
That's so cool. Yeah, perfect.
Easy it is. And if you got mobile devices, they're even better because you can get tighter on the shot of what you want to actually use as a second camera.
Right. And the way you would select these is when you're choosing your camera, it's just under your settings where you would toggle between your laptop camera and your Logitech external webcam, or whichever camera you're setting up, you would just have that virtual camera option there to choose.
Definitely. Yeah. And it works extremely well. I mean, and the key thing is to come up with some of those ideas. So Heather, in terms of camera angles, how did you determine what kind of camera angles? Like, did you have a list at the beginning? Did you watch other shows, for example, for inspiration? Can you kind of talk to that?
Yeah, I can definitely talk about that. So, when I first started, this whole concept was very, very foreign to me. That I hadn't seen a lot of live streaming things. I'd seen a lot of pre-edited videos where they have, the perfect camera setup and everything. But every once in a while, there was one person that I watched that they would have like and this isn't an edited video. This is not a live stream of any kind, where they would show like where the brush is hitting the painting and moving along. And you could see that like close up down at the brush's eye level type of thing. And I was like, man, that would be really cool to be able to do something like that, but live. It would be really interesting to be able to switch back and forth. And ultimately, that is one of the things that I would love to be able to do. And when I get the next revolution of my show is to have a third camera, so that we have this one that we're looking through, the desk camera pointed straight down, and then to have a third camera that's close up on what I'm actually working on down here at the desk, right where the brush hits the paper. And that's because I watched someone else's video doing something like that. And I thought that would be really cool, but live, if we could see that live and be able to switch back and forth, or even having it up in the corner up here so that you could get a closer look at that interaction. I think that would be kind of neat. But when I first started watching YouTube videos, I noticed, and this is a big thing in the creative world, that a lot of mistakes got made, but yet I never saw them. Like I would notice something was not correct as they were going along. Like I'm doing the project along with them, and I'm at a certain point, and they seem to be at a different point. Something's not right here, and that's editing. Editing saved them from having the mistake I was having. They just cut it out, right? So that was kind of where I started with the whole streaming thing, was that I wanted to be able to show mistakes and all, because if other people were watching this and having the same problem I was having, how did they get through it? That wasn't discussed in this video. And so so that was a big reason why I aimed at streaming, was to be able to share those mistakes and to be able to show how you get through them when they take place. And in doing that, camera angles is a part of that, because sometimes you can't really see everything that's happening from like, I guess an example would be when you have a tripod and you have your camera. I actually did a show like this, kind of weird, but I had the camera so that it would see me like this, and then we would switch it so that we could see down below. It was like a what do you call that? Traveling. We were in an airplane, and then we got somewhere and we had to have limited equipment. So we did just one camera view. Well, when you use a tripod and you're trying to get the best angle possible, you'll see the tripod's feet. If you're trying to do both your face and what you're looking at, it will be flipped around so that it's easier. It's so much easier if I can just show you. So let me just put it like this. When you're looking at my desk, you're looking at my desk exactly the same way that I am. Mm-hmm. But that's not how the camera is set up. The camera is actually set up over there, and it's looking this way. And utilizing some of the software within OBS, I'm able to flip it around so that you're looking at it the same way I am. That's important, in my opinion, when I'm trying to demonstrate to you how I paint something so that you could hopefully paint something the same way or your way. You need to see me actually go and put the brush stroke down, not be looking at me from the top, from the other side of the table, right? So it was really important to figure out how to place the camera so that I don't see the feet of the tripod, how to put it on the desk so that it doesn't, every time you touch the desk, the camera moves. I mean, a tiny little move from your desk makes the camera move a lot. It looks like a huge bump. These were all things that you have to consider when you're doing these things, and the ways to get around them are using various equipment like a microphone stand instead of a tripod. That's one thing. Using OBS software or some other kind of software to flip the image so that you're no longer looking that way, you're looking this way. Just.
Julie, actually, you're muted.
I'm muted. Sorry, the dog was barking.
That's all right. That's all right.
I muted myself because the dog was going crazy. I'm glad you touched on like the flipping of the camera and using that software, because most people would go, I'll set the camera up, I'll put it down, and suddenly, now it's upside down. It's backwards.
Yeah.
And so by utilizing the OBS software to do that flip, to create that, and then touching on the authenticity and the transparency of being real and genuine, doing it live versus the edited.
Yeah, also lazy. It's also being lazy. I don't like editing.
No, I'm not a big fan of it either. But that's what I love about live is I think people are more forgiving and understanding when they know, like, if you have a moment where you stumble over your words or where you may have messed up on a piece of the art at that moment or made a mistake, they're going to go, but it's live. It's real. It's what's in front of them because we're human, and I haven't met a perfect human yet.
Exactly. My friend Michael out there, Watercolors with Michael is his screen name. He actually has his camera. He's a watercolorist, hence the name. He actually has his camera hanging from his ceiling. Now, I started that way. After that whole duct tape on the piece of wood thing, and then we moved the camera and the setup to a different corner, I actually was in my basement. That's where my studio used to be. And it was unfinished, so I had these rafters going across the ceiling. Mm-hmm. Please tell me I'm not the only one who lived like this. But anyway, these rafters were exposed, and that was the perfect place to strap a tripod that I could crank manually down closer to the desk, or crank it up so I could get a wider field of view. it was the coolest setup. I miss my basement so much sometimes.
No, that's an odd, and it's utilizing your resources that you have. Again, then
Exactly.
going, I don't have to go buy some crazy tripod arm with a cranking system that's probably going to cost thousands of dollars. Because let's be real.
Correct.
Like we already said,
Correct.
tripods aren't cheap for good ones. You start adding in cranking capability, and
Correct.
so
Yeah.
you utilized the resources you had to really get a setup that worked.
Yeah.
And then, and off of that, I mean, you start, for example, like if you don't, for example, if you want to have that top-down camera, start with stacking boxes, for example.
Exactly.
Boxes,
I've done that.
Start sturdy boxes, stack those up, for example, to the right height. It works for the shot you're looking for. Also, keep in mind of things like, for example, I need power, for example. Well, don't plug it into your laptop and run power off of it. Get an external battery, for example, buy a longer cable, run it into a power outlet, for example, so that phone is always going to be charged. You're not going to ever have to worry about, it's going to run out of battery, and you're going to be able to have that second camera angle, for example, right there. Then as you're moving things along and you're finally, you're getting your show going, then you may want to invest in a proper arm that has, an adapter, for example, that holds your phone on it. So, lots of, the key thing is, again, start with what you have and level up.
Real quick, I'm going to touch on a comment from the Avril show who said that she saw I don't use a headset. I actually do use a headset. You just don't see it. It's a very invisible one. So that is my trick, is I am still plugged in with a headset so I don't get feedback and stuff like that. But I know you commented it was because of the dog barking. I am babysitting my brother-in-law's very large dog that is very loud. And so we have a garage sale going on across the street and they're not happy. But yeah, these are the Mi Sport that they're $16 on Amazon and they're clear. They go over the back of your ear, or go in and back over and then down your back, so you don't actually see any of the wires or anything like that.
And I'm actually running very similar headset as well, Julie. I'm running, these are black ones, but they go in ear. They're in-ear monitors. So I've got those. And then what I do, for example, I've got a sweatshirt on. I'm actually running this cable down my back. I've got a 6-foot cable that is then plugged into a mixer. And so then that way it allows me to be able to move. If I want to do this better, I would have probably taped this to the back of my neck, all that other fun stuff. But
mine's a 6-foot cable that just, and then mine plugs into the back of my mic. So it just comes down around from behind and right here in front of me.
Yeah. So it's super easy to get started, and these are little tricks. I mean, for example, Heather's using, and I think, by the way, I think Michael told me the model. I think it's the ME3 actually, Heather. I think that's what it is, about like, I think $150 headset you're wearing. But the thing is, people have to remember they're getting two things out of that. And it depends on what your setup is going to be. So for example, in your case, like you have the earpiece, and you've got the microphone, for example, versus, Julie just has a microphone. Now she has to have a separate pair of headphones. I've got headphones and I have a mic here in front of me, for example. So, it really comes down to the setup and how you want to do things. The other thing I wanted to actually just touch on real quick, you mentioned this when you were talking about like different camera angles and things like that. Another thing I would recommend people do is, if there are other channels that you watch, say there's like a big YouTube channel you watch and you're always wondering, hey, they do some really cool, like say they're in your same space. Look at the different camera angles they're using, see what they're using, and see if you can mimic that. For example, if that's the kind of camera angle you want to go with, or that certain look for your live stream. So, don't just like, hey, I'm going to open my webcam and I'm just talk. Like, there's lots of really creative ways to do things. And it comes down to what you're teaching people. If I'm learning arts and crafts, I want to hear from Heather, but I really want to see what she's doing.
Yeah.
So definitely keep that stuff in mind.
I love that.
This has been pretty awesome, actually. Is there anything else, any other questions we have for Heather, Julie?
I haven't seen, I got what's the name of the headset, so I dropped that in the comments for everybody. So cool. I don't see any others for Heather. I think we should come up on our drawing and do a giveaway.
Sounds good to me. What are we going to give away today, by the way?
We are going to give away the mug. And I've got a better picture that we'll share, but I've got one in person. Yeah, there you go.
Right? Yes.
So we're going to give away the StreamYard mug. You're going to type love StreamYard in the comments. And while we're giving everybody a moment to do that, I'm going to put Heather on the spot. I didn't forewarn her about this. So we're going to drop that off the screen real quick. And we're going to pull just Heather up. And Heather, I want to know what you love about StreamYard.
Oh, well, I already touched on it. So this one, everyone who knows me knows this, that I love StreamYard because I can stream. Like, I mean, it's just that simple. If it weren't for StreamYard, I would not be able to do a live stream this entire 4-year period. I've tried doing it other ways, going directly to, like we said, with using OBS, going directly to Twitch, going directly to YouTube, going straight from my phone to YouTube, my iPad to YouTube. And those are okay, but I was very limited on the camera quality. I was very limited on the angles that I could get. And the stream wasn't great, and it was very difficult to interact. And to me, streaming 100% is my favorite thing to do, is to stream, mostly because I'm lazy. I don't like editing, but also because of the audience, that audience interaction. And when you have a camera that you put in a certain way so it can see all of the art, you're not able to see any of the comments going on the screen. So kind of messes with the whole interaction with the audience. And that to me is the best part about streaming. And StreamYard is the best at both of those, being able to stream from a non-hardwired setup that I have here with my internet being the way it is, but also being able to bring on those comments on screen like you guys have been doing through this whole show. That is by far the best part.
I love that. That is awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. So we're going to let you scroll through and pick a random winner of somebody who said love StreamYard.
Okay.
So just scroll your mouse and stop it.
Scrolling. And stop. It says Carlos Mata. I want that mug in my desk.
There you go. Carlos Mata. If you will send us an email at marketing. It's not popping up. There it is. marketing@StreamYard. Christian's over there pushing the same button. So send an email to us, marketing@StreamYard, with your address, and we will get you your mug mailed out. And I know we touched base on this at the beginning of the show, but I do want to remind everybody of the amazing things that are happening in the StreamYard community and coming up this week. So if you are not a member of the StreamYard community on Facebook, just search StreamYard community or type in that link and you can request to join. In there right now, we have Veda going on, video every day in April. And this is creating content every day. It's getting consistent because consistency is going to get you in the habit. Now, we're not saying after April, you need to continue doing it every single day. That may become overwhelming. We get that. But the idea is that you create a habit of creating that content to where then you can go, okay, now I've got a following, now I've got a habit, I've got a flow. Now I can go weekly or twice a week or whatever format is going to work for you, but it's going to create that consistency. And we're doing giveaways. We have a big grand prize giveaway in the works that I'm not going to tell you what it is. You're going to have to participate to find out, and it's going to be fun. So that's going to be at the end of the month. You just have to participate to be entered to win. Of course, every day that you participate is an entry. So participating all 30 days is going to get you 30 entries. That's kind of like, that's the incentive there to participate every day. And it's not too late to start. Even though we know it's April 9th, you can still get started. The other thing we have coming up is the live stream Success Summit on April 15th. That is next Thursday at 9 a.m. Pacific time. You'll Google your time zone if you're in a different time zone. So live stream Success Summit. And that is going to be some amazing speakers, keynote sessions, breakout sessions. Letitia Campbell, who is very active in our community, she does a couple of shows with Christian. How many shows do you guys have now?
We have two actually. Yeah, one here on StreamYard, one outside of StreamYard. Yeah,
I knew you had a couple going. So Letitia Campbell is our MC for the day. We have a DJ who is going to be like getting the party going with music. We've got networking. So tickets are free. and you need to sign up in order to get the content. It will not be available if you do not sign up.
Fantastic. This is a lot of fun. I mean, we've got, as you mentioned, we've got Veda, we've got the StreamYard Live Streaming Success Summit. We've also got another episode of Learn with StreamYard, by the way, and that's coming up the 23rd of April. That's going to be 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to actually be joined by Dan Dexter. You may have seen him in the StreamYard Facebook group, but he's going to be joining us to talk about accessibility for live streaming, some different ways that they are doing it. So be sure you go and check that one out. That's April 23rd, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. With that, though, Heather, what's the best place for people to get in touch with you if they want to, ask more questions about your setup, learn, even watch some of your shows?
My website, craftshack.com, is probably the best place to find everything. I have a linky that has everything on one page to make it easy. But Kraftshack is the way to find me. You just got to spell it right, which is always the goofy part. But but here, let's see. Do I still have it up? That's how you spell it. Which way to go? There we go.
I always
so
do that.
Yeah, Kraftshack on Instagram is probably the best place. If you can send me a direct message if you have any questions. I'm happy to do it. Plus, I'm going to post a picture of the whole mess, and you can see all the setup with the cameras, the lights, everything. I know somebody had a question about lights. Maybe we can chat offline. I think it was Albert.
Good question. Yeah. So this has been really awesome. I mean, I hope everybody, you've taken things away from this to apply to your own live streams. If you have any questions, you can drop them in the comments, whether you're watching on Facebook or here on YouTube. Drop them in the comments. We'll go back. We'll respond to them. You can also get in touch with Heather directly. But with that, I want to wrap up this week's episode of Learn with StreamYard, where we talked about multi-camera setup for your live stream. A couple different ways you can do that. Obviously, you can do it directly in StreamYard. Send yourself the invite link and open that, for example, on the device. Mute your audio. You can plug in an old pair of headphones, by the way, if you need to actually mute the audio from the mic. In addition to that, though, you can use OBS like Heather is using. Has some amazing backgrounds and just camera views. And then lastly, you can also get into using a physical switcher as well if you need to. But it's been absolutely fabulous having you on. Heather, thanks a lot for joining us.
Thank you both. I really appreciated being here. And again, if anybody has any questions or you know what, don't let any of the hard stuff get in the way of sharing your story. Because really, somebody out there needs to hear what you have to say. So get out there and do it.
Awesome.
Thank you so much, Heather.
We'll see you all next. We'll see you all at the Live Stream Success Summit next Thursday.
Yes.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.